Now, knowing you, I know that you're aware of the things that people are saying. You're moving up in two-weight classes. You're the smaller man. Whatever you do, Terence Crawford, don't exchange against them. What do you feel you have to do?
Be myself. I'm 41-0 for a reason.
Stephen A.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Mayweather was undefeated for the last half of his career.
For over 20 years, everyone believed Floyd's 50-0 record would stand untouched. He was the phantom inside the ropes, a defensive genius who made legends look ordinary. But then, in one unforgettable night, a single explosive statement from the only man bold enough to challenge them both shook the very monument. Suddenly, the argument wasn't just about greatness. It became a haunting question. Had Mayweather's entire era been eclipsed? The uproar ignited when Terence Crawford raised his hand against Canelo Alvarez, sealing a performance so extraordinary. Many swore he had achieved the impossible right before their eyes.
Terence Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance. He had poise in the ring, he wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept us different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, brilliant master.
The Real Jolt arrived at the post-fight press conference. When asked to weigh Crawford against his former rival Floyd Mayweather, Canelo didn't flinch. With the entire world hanging on his every word, he answered simply, without hesitation.
You can compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence "Bud" Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
Coming from the only fighter alive to have shared the ring with both men, it wasn't just an opinion. It was a revelation that shook boxing to its core. That single sentence ignited a firestorm, fueling a debate destined to rage on. Soon, a powerful voice entered the fray. Stephen A. Smith, watching closely from the sidelines, was instantly captivated. Like so many, he assumed Crawford would lean on his precision, circling from the outside to outbox the bigger, stronger man. But what unfolded inside the ring defied every expectation.
Well, I appreciate Crawford making my prediction come through. Coming into the fight, I had him winning by decision. I thought he was the superior boxer. I thought he would be able to take a punch. And as long as he didn't stay there and exchange with Canelo, I thought he could do it. What surprised me is that there were times during the fight, he did stand there and exchange with Canelo and took it. Took some body shots to the liver, took some headshots, exchanged, and still ended up winning this fight. I thought from the 8th round on, he just put on a boxing clinic. But I gotta give credit where credit is due. Crawford deserved to win the fight.
Smith was stunned that Crawford didn't just endure. He walked straight into the fire, trading shots with Canelo and proving he carried far more than pure technique. He carried grit. Smith admitted, "What I never saw coming was him standing there, exchanging and surviving. He did it again and again, and that's why the credit belongs to him." Breaking it down, Smith scored the fight 5-4 for Crawford after 9, before Crawford delivered a boxing masterclass to sweep the last 3 convincingly. He withstood Canelo's thunder and stood tall, triumphing where smaller men were expected to crumble.
Crawford's a special fighter because he's got a mean streak. He doesn't back up from anything. He's usually the superior boxer in the ring. He finds a way to win. No matter who he's going up against, no matter what power you have, what boxing skills you have, he is truly a generational kind of fighter. He wants to go in the ring and not just beat you, but show you he was a better man. And he's not one who believes that just a knockout does that. He likes outboxing you and showing you that his skill level is superior to yours. And he showed it tonight.
This was the moment Stephen A. Smith drew the line. delivering a distinction that shifted the entire conversation. He reminded the world that Floyd Mayweather was a defensive sorcerer, a wizard built to win without ever being touched. Floyd knew knockouts could not be his crutch, not after his hands betrayed him, fragile and battered through the second half of his career. And this wasn't speculation or rumor. The truth had been documented, carved into the story of his reign inside the ring.
Mayweather was undefeated for the last half of his career with one hand. He constantly broke his hand.
Yeah.
He would go into a ring knowing he had no shot at knocking somebody out because his hands were hurt too much, and literally walked in the ring and said, I'm going to embarrass you and humiliate you by showing the world you can't hit me.
Mayweather confessed that his hands were painfully brittle, even revealing he couldn't spar for an entire month before stepping into the ring with Conor McGregor because of the injury.
Floyd Mayweather looks me in my face and he says, I'm going to take him out about the 8th or 9th round. And I said, your hand's always broken. You ain't known for your punching power since you moved up from lightweight to welterweight. Why are you so sure you're going to do this? He said, Stephen A., he's a UFC fighter. He said, and he's a striker. He's accustomed to coming at you and throwing punches. What he's not accustomed to doing is punching while he's throwing backwards, while he's moving backwards and pushing you off of him. He says, I'm going to walk right into him and stay at his chest. He's going to have to push me off in order to throw his punches. He said he's going to be circling the ring. He said by around 4 or 5, he's not going to have any legs. He's going to be done. And he said, and I'll just toy with him and keep him around until around the 8th or the 9th round. And that is exactly what Floyd Money Mayweather did. He told me exactly what he was going to do, and he did it.
Adding fuel to the controversy, reports have long hinted that in the latter stages of his career, Mayweather chose to fight almost exclusively in Las Vegas, the rare city permitting numbing injections like Glidane for hand pain. The implication was clear. His fragile hands dictated not only where he fought, but how. And yet, despite the obstacles, he turned that pain into mastery, becoming untouchable.
Your hand? Huh? I thought you hurt your hand. How about so? Okay. All right. Relax, baby. The job is done. All right.
Put in a bucket of ice, man.
Yeah.
Get a bucket of ice. Kill him.
I'm saying Shane hit me with a hell of a shot. Okay. Actually, 2 shots. Okay. But even in that particular round, what I said to Shane was this. I was like, you just said something to him when you grabbed him. I said, you gotta kill me.
Oh shit.
I said,
I wasn't ready, bro.
I said that was a good one. I said that was a good one, but you gotta kill me. Wow. I said, you gotta kill me. And then I'm not gonna lie.
Trainer Greg Hackett agreed, insisting the version of Floyd, who fought Canelo, was a flawless, polished fighter, complete and unshakable, contrasted against Crawford's wilder, more unpredictable style inside the ring.
Marciano was 49-0. Before Floyd got to 50-0, he was a heavyweight champ. Did anyone ever consider Rocky Marciano the GOAT? No, not seriously, no. Why would Floyd be considered the GOAT? Because he beat more fighters than Rocky did, more great ones? That's true. But really, Floyd was careful in the way he selected opponents. Don't get that twisted. It's not that Floyd didn't fight a lot of great fighters. He did. It's not that I don't think he would have beaten a lot of the tougher fighters than he fought. I think he probably would have, but he didn't do it. He waited. He waited till Pacquiao wasn't at his best anymore. He didn't fight Margarito when Margarito was tearing everyone up. He waited for the right time to fight people. He got paid twice as much for fighting Pacquiao in a less dangerous fight than he would have had he fought him when everyone wanted to see him fight. Floyd is among the all-time greats, but
Crawford, on the other hand, absorbed Canelo's shots, showing his chin and sheer tenacity. But to Stephen A., the very need to prove it was the lone distinction separating him from Floyd. Before the debate spiraled further, voices rose to remind everyone of a simpler truth. Their greatness belonged to different eras. This wasn't only about skill, it was about time itself. Terence Crawford accepted that with humility, saying, Floyd is the best fighter of his era, and I believe I'm the best fighter of mine. In those words, the heated argument cooled into something deeper, respect across generations.
I can't say he's capping, because I don't know what he felt. But when I heard that, what I think is, when Floyd beat me, I was 23, I wasn't polished. When Bud beat me, I was the man. I was the man. And he beat me fair and square. He beat me at my game and he beat me at his game. That's why Canelo said that. Do I believe that? It's tough to believe. But I can only take Canelo's word because he's the man that's been in the ring with both of them. But I understand why he said it. I was a kid when I fought Floyd. He wasn't a kid literally, but he was young. He was young. There was a lot he didn't know. There was a lot he didn't understand about boxing that he later on learned and got better. But Bud beat the better version of me, even though it's the ran down version. I'm saying that because it is some wear and tear there with Canelo. I've been saying it the whole time. When a guy got almost 70 fights in current time, with all those big camps he's been doing and all that, trust me, it's some wear and tear there. I'm not making excuses for Canelo. I'm just saying.
I don't know. That's what it gives it that air.
I also think you got to remember when you talk about a Mexican fighter, they big on punishment. He might also feel Crawford punches harder than Floyd and took more chances than Floyd took. Floyd really was super speed that night. Everything speed. And it irritated Canelo because Canelo couldn't do what he wanted to do. And he looked nothing like himself. Like I said, I think it was just times where Canelo felt like, damn, I could have had him. With Floyd, I think he felt like paralyzed. Like, damn, I can't catch this motherfucker. He too fast. But with Crawford, I felt like he maybe was saying, damn, I could have, if I would have threw this, or if I would have did that. You know what I mean? Because it was times Crawford sat there and caught a punch and countered back. You know what I'm saying? He let Canelo throw. Like, go ahead, throw your shit. He caught that shit, boom, and come right back with the hook. Same shot he caught Earl with. He was touching Canelo with some of that same shit, man. And it was just like, and it was times where Crawford was imposing himself on Canelo. He was stepping to Canelo at times. He didn't do it the whole fight, but I'm just saying it was times he stepped to him. Floyd did too, but Floyd just was so fast, so much faster, and the education was like totally different. Like when Canelo fought Floyd, Canelo was in middle school. He wasn't even, you know what I'm saying? Floyd by that time was already a Harvard graduate. You know what I'm saying?
This perspective adds a crucial layer, suggesting that greatness isn't a straight line, but a crown tied to the era in which a fighter reigns. The comparison grows even more tangled once age is considered. Floyd's uncle, Jeff Mayweather, reminded everyone that when Floyd stepped in against a young Canelo, he was already 36, well past his prime. That single detail makes any direct comparison between a Pete Crawford and a seasoned Canelo almost impossible, a clash of timelines that blurs the edges of what truly defines supremacy.
I think that Floyd Mayweather was such a magician defensively. And we have to look at Floyd Money Mayweather in this regard. Once he moved up to welterweight, his hands were always damaged. So he kind of knew he wasn't going to be able to knock you out for the most part. And still, he walked into the ring and put on masterful performances because he was so superior, skill-wise and defensively. You can't say enough. Tonight with Crawford, for example, we saw him take a punch on several occasions. With Floyd, we didn't see that too often because you couldn't hit him.
It frames the debate not as a head-to-head verdict on who's better, but as two kings ruling over distinct eras in boxing's storied history.
Something that I want.
And it's not just the title, it's what else?
It's everything. He got everything. And I'm coming to get it.
When you beat him, you'll have everything.
The debate over their primes and defensive brilliance may rage endlessly, but one fact stands unchallenged. Terence Crawford holds remarkable achievement that Floyd Mayweather, for all his greatness, never even came close to matching.
We remember, Canelo that time was a razor-thin decision. Floyd won, majority decision. C.J. Ross had it with what a lot of people had as a draw, and then the other two judges scored it for Floyd, of course. And that was a Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he took him, into deep waters. So
what was Canelo? What, 21? 20 what? 23, 25?
Yeah, he was. Very, very young in the game, very obviously.
Very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah, but
man, that was 30-something years old, 36.
But Floyd was clearly at the top of his career, and Canelo had fought a lot of people, but he But
are you at the top of your career in your prime? You in your prime. You ain't in your prime when you're at 36.
By conquering Canelo, he became the first male boxer in history to capture undisputed championships across 3 weight divisions. The victory resonated so deeply that Turki Alalik, one of boxing's loudest modern voices, instantly crowned Crawford the fighter of the century. And the contrast only sharpens when compared to Mayweather. Though Floyd collected titles in 5 divisions, he never ruled as the undisputed king in any. Crawford, by contrast, cleaned out 3 weight classes entirely. That kind of dominance isn't luck, it's design. Crawford later revealed how his camp focused relentlessly on strength, sculpting his body for every weapon Canelo might unleash. That night etched his name in history, proving he conquered whole divisions in ways even money Mayweather never achieved. Yet their differences extend far beyond belts. Floyd Mayweather wasn't only a fighter, he was the CEO of his own empire. As Max Kellerman explained, once Floyd moved up from lightweight, his career became a masterclass in matchmaking. He chose the opponents, dictated the timing, and managed the spectacle like a business, ensuring every risk aligned perfectly with the reward. It was brilliance, yes, but a very different path than Crawford's all-out conquest.
Comparisons between Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. We've even had the conversation to go as far as who would win in the fight between Terence and Floyd. And I truly don't know the answer to that question.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. Who would win that fight?
Floyd.
Floyd would win that
Yes,
fight.
sir. I
Floyd
love you, Terence.
always figures it out.
Yeah,
Yes. He's a chess master.
Yeah, his IQ in
But
that
the
shit
funny
is
thing
crazy.
about it is Terence has been the only other guy that people can say he always figures it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's true.
But you gotta have
Can't
an
say
OG
that
somewhere.
about anybody
though.
else. Yeah.
There's an OG
Somebody
somewhere.
got to pioneer,
that you
right?
out figure
Yeah,
out.
you got to.
There's an OG you can't out-figure out somewhere.
yeah,
And I just
yeah.
believe Floyd is that OG you can't.
This very strategy, however, drew sharp criticism from the younger generation. Rising superstar Ryan Garcia delivered a bold statement, accusing Mayweather of mastering not just the art of fighting, but the art of choosing when not to fight. He claimed Floyd reshaped the sport for the worse, sidestepping boxers in their prime rather than meeting them head-on.
Accomplishments, he's three division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably beat Crawford. But
Crawford, by contrast, has been a force of nature, willing to face anyone to prove his supremacy. In a prime-for-prime matchup, the physical numbers speak loudly. Crawford stands an inch taller, but more crucially, he holds a 3-inch reach advantage, a massive edge in a technical chess match where even the great Mayweather might have struggled. His resume stretches long, though carefully constructed. Yet time and again fans and critics have watched him step up against the very best, fearless in pursuit of dominance. Beyond his relentless spirit, analysts and former champions point to his staggering physical gifts. As boxing legend Shane Mosley put it,
because if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight, I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times.
I think Crawford is superior. It would have been a brutal battle, but his longer arms and natural size would give him the edge over Mayweather. Still, Floyd isn't backing down. He's taking this personally, especially as Crawford boldly claims Mayweather's era is finished, and that now, this is his time. This is Crawford's era.
This kid Ryan Garcia, Tank got his followers from kicking ass. Ryan Garcia got his followers from YouTubers. There's a difference. So you want to be a YouTuber or you want to be a fighter? Tank is a fighter.
How did Gervonta know that my rib got separated while I was in the fight? Or before the fight? How do you think they got the information? You gotta pay. who even told me what they paid? So I know how much money it takes to betray Ryan Garcia.
While Mayweather was the master architect, constructing a flawless, impenetrable fortress, Crawford emerged as the conqueror, storming through any territory and claiming it by force. Yet despite Crawford's breathtaking rise, a chorus of critics rejected the comparison outright. To them, the only true similarity was skin color. Both were great black fighters, but stylistically, worlds apart. One analyst put it bluntly, Terence Crawford is not Floyd Mayweather. They're both black. That's the only thing they share. Those critics pointed out Crawford's appetite for the scrap, how he'd take punches, stick out his tongue, drop his hands, and trade recklessly in the pocket. Mayweather's creed was the polar opposite. He was sharper, quicker, and wielded a defensive IQ some call the greatest in history. For analysts, the endless comparisons weren't about reality at all, but about longing, fans desperate to crown a successor to Floyd's throne. And as if the in-ring debate wasn't enough, the Crawford-Canelo super fight carried its own storm of drama. Even before the first bell, whispers of controversy circled. The judges assigned were the very same ones who scored Manny Pacquiao's infamous draw, raising suspicions that their style could tip the scales unfairly toward Canelo. Then chaos spilled into the world of high-stakes betting. Streamer Aiden Ross, who had wagered a staggering $1 million on Canelo, was accused of insider maneuvering after a mysterious phone call reportedly pushed him to switch his bet and secure a last-minute profit. So that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed the breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an update. And don't forget, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.
Crawford is better. It would have been a tough fight, but I think Crawford would have the edge over Mayweather because of the long arms and because it's bigger. But Mayweather is definitely technician. I mean, like Crawford said, Mayweather has his era, and Crawford this.